Hello, everybody. This is Mark speaking. I'm happy to see all of you joining the webinar of today. We're ready to get started. However, we will just give like 2 or 3 more minutes for the latecomers to join, and then we'll get started straight away. Just a few more minutes, and then we will get going. Thank you. Okay, thank you everybody for waiting. We're ready to get started, so a few more people joined. Let me just pull everything up here, and then we should be ready to go. Okay, great. Welcome everyone again. This is Mark speaking, and I'm happy to introduce you into the new product we are launching today, the so-called SN200. With me today, I have Tanya Barbeta. So she is, as usual, helping me through going through the webinar, and she's gonna go through the questions that you might have. So as usual, feel free to ask any questions that you have during the presentation using the tool, typing in your question there, and then we will address those towards the end of today's session in the Q&A. And now we get started with the product itself, what it is, what the main features are. However, our focus of today's session is going to be on the advantages of the product. So, I mean, the ATA isn't something new, so we didn't intend reinventing the wheel, but we just made it better. So we'll see what that actually is. Good, so the SN200, basically ATA, but that can do more. So the main features there is it does SIP on one hand, it does analog on the other hand. Along with the SIP features, the usual things are coming along that you would expect, including SIP TLS that you can enable on this device, as well as security features such as SRTP. You can also enable if needed to. Dual stack, IP dual stack we have on that unit as well. So IPv4, IPv6, both is supported at the same time. And now we're going to come to the more important points here, which is zero-touch provisioning, which is important for such kind of device, which is usually being installed in high volumes, right? This unit is cloud orchestrated, so you can manage it from a central location, but more on that you're just going to see in a few minutes. Good. Advantages of this product over competitors. So the first one is lowest TCO, total cost of ownership. And I try to explain this based on an example here, doing a comparison with a competitor's unit. Total cost of ownership in terms of really everything from the start, when you go to the customer side, do the install, until the device, and basically also the service a service provider is delivering to a client is up and running. There is a few things that are the same for the competitors, but also for the SN200 to be installed, so unboxing and things like that. However, the main differences, as you can see here, is clearly, and thanks to the provisioning, zero-touch provisioning functionalities that are available on this unit, coupled with the Patton Cloud, you see where the big differences are coming from. Now, if you calculate in the time that is required for a technician to do this setup, or basically the installation, so you can see it can be quite a big difference. So if you would sum that up to an installation of 50 units that you'd have to do, so there is a savings of 2,500 euros in this case you can make, you can save with using the SN200. Now, the main difference, as I have mentioned and as we have identified, is coming on the configuration part. So on the competitor's unit, if you would go and configure that one, set it up at the customer premise, there's a lot of parameters you need to take care of, a lot of settings you need to put, and a lot of things you have to pay attention to when doing the install. As you can see, a lot of values, a lot of fields, and this really takes time to go through all these, making sure that all the configuration parameters is set. And it continues. There is even more pages, more settings, and this really can lead to problems if you're down at the customer premise trying to set up a service for a customer. And we're just talking about 1 up to 4 analog ports, which is usually rather on the lower pricing side. So if you every minute you spend doing the install costs an extra money. With the SN200 instead, now this is really simple. So if you set it up right, it's literally just going there at the customer premise, plugging in a few cables, and then you can leave already, as everything is sort of happening in the background automatically, thanks to the zero-touch provisioning, which is a free Patton Cloud service. But more on that a few minutes later. Let us move to the second advantage. So this unit, the SN200, can be cloud orchestrated. So that means you get an overview of all the sites where you have deployed the SN200 in a way that you can get alerts if there is something happening at these sites. So it's a really proactive way. You can even get notifications if, for instance, the warranty is expiring. So you can do an upsell there to your client and sell an additional enhanced warranty while it is still in warranty, or if there is, for whatever reason, service capacity reached. So if you need to load additional channels or licenses, so you can set up different notifications there. In addition, the administration of all these ATAs installed in the field can be done through the Patton Cloud. So it's really that simple, a centralized system from which you can access from everywhere in the world where there is internet access. And by that, you can do whatever maintenance that might be required if you need to change anything in the configuration on the ATA, or you can just simply, with a few clicks, do mass software upgrades. So you don't need to connect in a cumbersome way to every single device and do a software update, or even go on site to do so. So using the SN200 coupled with the Patton Cloud, it's everything a few mouse clicks away. A third advantage on the SN200 is if you choose the right model, there is no need for a power supply anymore. So we made that one become obsolete because this product is going to be PoE powered. In usual installations at enterprises. So there is a PoE capable switch anyway, powering the phones, the SIP phones that are on premise. So you can just use the same infrastructure that's usually there and power the SN200. So it's literally connecting two cables, the one cable from your phone, your analog phone, and the other cable is your Ethernet cable, which is at the same time delivering the power for the smart node. Good. Now, at this point, I just want to switch over to the Patton Cloud and give you, based on an example, some details in how this is working. Again, for the most of you, you have familiarized yourself, I'm sure, with the Patton Cloud already. So how it looks like, what it is. So again, the dashboard here, which gives you information on where your units are installed. In my case, it's just 4 units that I have for testing purposes. Now, I want to jump to the provisioning directly. So how this is done, this so-called zero-touch provisioning, and it's actually really simple.
And maybe we should here also say, Mark, that what you're going to show, the second advantage, which is really the provisioning, is on the Patton Cloud, as we said, but this is really for free. So you can order the basic cloud plan, and it is for free, and you can use the provisioning service. So just, I would really just go ahead and order that plan, because you don't have to pay for it, and you can use really a lot of features.
Right, and that's actually the best way in trying it out.
Exactly.
So there's no lock-in in terms of, or it's not associated with any costs. Again, the provisioning, and based on an example here, so I have entered the serial number of my smart node SN200, and in order to configure that device, I can just do that even before the unit gets delivered to the customer premise by clicking on this wizard here, and then you can optionally configure the different username and different password for the device. It's optional, however, we highly recommend doing so for security reasons. Second step is you choose your profile for the tone set. So I'm based in Switzerland, choosing Switzerland. The third one is your zip server, zip.zip.com, your DID 1234, the password 1234, repeat it 1234, and then again the extension, and that's it. So just a few steps, took me maybe 10 seconds to do so, and with that the device is ready to be provisioned. So the next step is, once the device gets connected to the network and gets internet access, then you would see this one to come up.
And this is also a good solution, not only for service providers, right, trying to install 50 units at the same time, but also for installers who have to do 10 or 5 units, right? Because they can already prepare that before they receive the unit. Is that correct, Mark?
That's right, yeah. So it's really simple, useful, and you can speed up all the processes. You can make them more reliable. So it's really powerful.
But just a question, you showed now how you can do the provisioning for 1 unit, right? But as we said, for the case that somebody's ordering, like a service provider we have, is ordering 50 units at a time, do I have to enter each single serial number there? So it will, at the end of the day, it will take me the same time as configuring everything what you showed before.
Right. That's actually a good point. I mean, of course you can do so. However, I mean, even there we were optimizing the whole thing, the whole process, even here, so that it's time saving and is not giving any potential for errors. So if you have multiple units to be imported for provisioning reasons, so you can just go here and import an Excel file that lists all the serial numbers, and that's actually something we can give you, or if you get your order confirmation from Patton on certain units, so you see the serial numbers there. So it's a matter of a few clicks here, you enter the serial numbers, or you select the serial numbers from the file as I showed you. You define which wizard those units should be assigned to, or which profiles. Click on register, and the units are going to show up here. And again, the next step is technician on premise plugs in the device. It hits the Patton Cloud. The configuration file gets provisioned, and everything is up and running. So it's really that simple. Very good. Then, yeah, just to emphasize again on the advantages that we have mentioned before. So there is, depending on the cloud plan that you have, there is the alerts, notification functionalities. So in here, you can define your rules, which will trigger a notification or an alarm. For instance, there is one that I have disabled in the meanwhile, but I'm just enabling now, which is giving me an alarm if there is a unit that is under the productive group. If this device is down, and you see it shoots an alarm, I can switch to this active alarms, and I see that there is a device that is affected by this. I can go to that one. I see, it's my virtual smart node where the status is down because I simply didn't start at that virtual smart node. So as you can see, alerts, notification, very powerful tool, and especially in the case of doing the installations of SmartNode 200s, where I can imagine that these units are being sold in high volumes at different locations. So you get everything aggregated at one single location, and coupled with the notification and alarming, you have a really nice system which takes less of your time to take care, keeping all these units and the corresponding services up and running.
Do we have quickly time to answer a question from Christoph Geiger? So he's asking, is this strictly for analog phone using voltage for start and stop, or can it be used for radios on a Vox using decibels levels?
So the product we're showing right now, the SM200, that's purely for analog phones. So it's coming with FXS ports. That means it's designed to connect analog endpoints to it, so that can be phones, fax machines, POS machines, for instance. However, if you would like to connect different devices, such as radios or Vox systems there, so you would have to switch to a different device, which is the SmartNode 5540, which we are in the final stage of bringing to market, which is our so-called leased line product. So on those products, you can do what you're looking for. And the good thing there is that even with that product, so it's a different product, you can manage that through the Patton Cloud as well as provisioning. So all the features, they are also available on this product. But just to summarize, going to be a different product. We're going to have it soon, and everything managed by the Patton Cloud as well.
Okay.
Just before we go to the next question, maybe Tanya, just wanted to highlight here, so this SmartNode 200 that I prepared before by entering the MAC address and executing this 3-step wizard that took me about 10 seconds to do is now there. It has been provisioned. You see, successfully provisioned. So the device has been provisioned with the configuration.
Okay, so we see really there the advantage, because as you said before, it's an analog ATA which you usually deploy in mass, and you cannot spend all that time configuring, as you showed before, on 6 different pages, which took you to show how all the different parameters you need to enter.
Right. And there is a big potential to set a wrong value, click on the wrong radio button or whatever, which results in a service that is not working. So you need to start debugging at the customer premise, which costs time, and time is money. So with our solution, you can really streamline that, make it fast, make it simple. It's stable. So with that, you save a lot of time, a lot of money, of course. And on top of that, you have the possibility to, after the installation has been done, to monitor your devices and also the service there. So,
okay. And maybe just quickly another question from Joel Katz is asking, if I have an older MATA, can it be upgraded to cloud orchestration?
Well, there I don't have so good news for you. You'd have to go with the new unit, with the SmartNode 200, because of software-related reasons mainly. So you know, the latest software running on the Patton SmartNodes is capable for cloud orchestration, and so is the SN200. So I would encourage you getting a sample device of the SN200 and do some validation on that one.
Okay, and then another question from Sean McElroy. Hello, can you set up PC apps to capture zip RTP messages?
So there, that's something which is a feature in the cloud, which is on the roadmap, and that's actually something which is going to be available pretty soon. And to answer your question, yes, however, not right now, but that's going to be there as well. And now, as you can see, it's really not the ATA that is going to be available here, locked by the feature set that is available today. So there's further expansion that we are happening, so additional features that are to come, and also coupled with the Patton Cloud, there is even more features that you can benefit from coming from there.
Okay, and then William Swoboda is asking, how are dialing plans configured?
Well, I really like this question because we have a very powerful dial plan configuration capabilities on all of our smart nodes, not just the SN200. So you can simply do that by variable numbering plans, by entering it in the configuration. You can do it based on fixed numbering plans, let's say based on number of digits. There is a lot of options there. And on top of that, we've done several projects. Just to give you an example, in Sweden, we have done a project there where we have included the whole Sweden telephone numbering plan into the smart node. So how we've done that, we've done that using the feature so-called provisioned dial plan, where the dial plan was done in a separate file, which, by the way, every night it has been updated by the Telecoms Authority of Sweden by adding the latest numbers into that file, and those file has been referenced in the smart node. So literally you can do like just basic numbering plans, fixed variable with a timeout, or you can even build in a whole country's numbering plan if it's variable.
Okay, and then we have Stefan Eicher, who's asking, can I use the SN200 in an environment without internet access?
Right, so the answer is clearly yes, you can do so. However, if you don't have internet access, so you would need to see, I mean, there is some restrictions in the Patton Cloud, as cloud service requires the internet. But yes, of course, the SN200 you can operate in a traditional way, even if there is no internet access.
Okay.
For instance, connecting the SN200 to a local operated IPPBX, of course, this is possible. And I think that goes with the next question that I see up there, right?
Exactly.
Which is...
Michael Holmes is asking, can we still manually configure the SN200 device and then maybe jump to the cloud later?
Of course. So again, this is possible there. So you can do it through Telnet, SSH, using the CLI, or as well as using the web interface. We have wizards in the cloud, so that's also a new feature that we just recently deployed. Cloud wizards, which again makes it easier, but all these options are available on the SN200 as well.
Exactly. So, and again, maybe just to repeat, the basic cloud plan is really for free. So please order it, and you can use the provisioning as Mark showed, really for free. And also, in addition to that, if you really would like to see everything what you can do with the Patton Cloud, please register for the free trial, because there you get for 90 days the professional service. So you get a better feeling of what are features it can do, and everything like that.
Very good, great. So let's move on to the next thing. I just wanted to highlight in terms of the interoperability. So you probably noticed in terms of the features and the system running on the SN200. So it's the same as we have on the regular smart nodes, 55XX series, for instance, same software running there. And with that, it gives you access and your customers access to all the interoperabilities we have done. So even with the new product there, so you can use it with different systems, whether it's 3CX, where you probably saw that we've updated our templates inside 3CX that is available there, but also others like Starface or BroadSoft or Vodia. So in terms of technical interop, this remains the same. And then we're also spending some efforts there in getting everything from the PBX side of thing up to date by officially adding the SN200 as well. Good, let's move on. Availability on this product, so 2 and 4 port is really coming out soon. So we're in the final stages. Our factory is running on a high level there. Then we have the 1 port coming a bit later, and then as well as the PoE powered, which is coming towards the end of this year. So that's what my schedule looks like there. However, we are already taking orders, so just contact us in a usual way. Contact your partners through which you're usually ordering the Patton devices. So we are more than happy to see your order coming in for the SN200. Very good. That brings us towards the end of the session today. Well, just to highlight again, and all of the Patton customers joining the session, you know what the values of the Patton products are. So we are really focusing on high quality, the interop I've mentioned before, with the configuration, and that goes back to the question that we had before, regardless if it's an SN200, a 4131, for instance, a 5501, so all these units are configured in the same way. We are continuously improving our software. Every 2 months, new software version is available, so we continue doing that. And it's flexible, so you saw it before, dialing plan, to give an example there, a lot of configuration options that are there you can benefit from. We have security-wise the state-of-the-art functionalities, and in terms of all IP, you know, our wide ESPC product portfolio. So just to summarize the value of the Patton products. Good. So if there is still some questions, Tanya, maybe we can spend a few more minutes.
Right now, we just have left one question from Stefan Eicher. Is the 1 port SN200 not PoE powered?
Yeah, that's correct. So in terms of PoE, it's the 2 port version, 2FXS, or the 4FXS. You can that you can power through PoE.
Good, I think this is all. I don't know if you have any questions, feel free to write us or an email or ask us now.
Right, and through the usual channels, through the usual media, just yeah, shoot us an email, give us a call. We're more than happy to answer any additional questions, even after the webinar. And yeah, at this point, I would say we're looking forward welcoming all of you in one of our upcoming webinars. So there is a lot of things we're working on right now, and yeah, looking forward to seeing you again soon in one of our next webinars for any new product introduction.
Hold on, Mark. Before we leave, we just got one question from Steve Dubuc. Hope I spelled your name correctly. I'm sorry. Do you have products that offer FXO ports?
At this point, it's FXS only. There is going to be a version based on the SN200 coming next year that has for survivability cases, one FXO port. But we've decided, this being too early to be mentioned here in the presentation, so we are more than happy to do a follow-up webinar once this product is coming closer to release. However, you have still the option using the SmartNode 4141, for instance, that also offers the cloud connectivity, all the nice features that are there, and which has 4 or 8 FXO ports on the unit. Last question, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like.
Very good. Then again, thank you very much for your attention, spending the time and listening to us, and looking forward to seeing you sometime soon.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.